Hey guys, welcome to another ranking, and here's my ranking of all the Naughty Dog video games. Um, I know Naughty Dog created like games like a long time ago, back in like the early 90s, late 80s and stuff. I'm not including those games. I'm including more of like the big franchise games, the games everyone knows Naughty Dog for. There's one old game I will include on this list because I've actually played it because my cousin is a vintage video game collector, so I've played it. That's the only old Naughty Dog game I've got. The rest are like the big popular ones. So 16 games I'm including. So out of all the 16 Naughty Dog games, this is my ranking, my personal ranking from my least favorite to my favorite. Number 16, Way of the Warrior. Old school fighting game, aka Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, but not as good. It's exactly the way to put it. I played a little bit of this. My cousin has this game. It is a very dated, ugly looking game that is neither as cool as Tekken, bloody and fucked up as Mortal Kombat, or as engaging as Street Fighter. It's just a very boring, run of the mills fighting game. Number 15 is Uncharted The Lost Legacy. I like that they focused on a spin off story about two very side characters. The chemistry between the two female leads is great. It's almost like a very big DLC for Uncharted 4, and it works. It's short. It's neither as gripping or as enjoyable as any other Uncharted game, but it's good. Anyways, number 14 is Jack X Comet Racing. Not as good as like a lot of other like big racing games, but Jack X is a lot of fun. I like the story about Jack and all these racers drinking a poison and they're racing for the antidote. That's kind of cool and stuff. And some of the cool arcade modes and battle styles you could do in Jack X Com Racing is really fun and really cool. Just not as unique and awesome as other Jack games, but still a fun game. Number 13 is the first Jack and Dexter, a really great platformer adventure game. I was about to say adventure film because I'm so used to talk about movies. Very cool game. I love that you get the story of Jack and his buddy Dexter, who's turned into like this little creature and stuff, and you're doing these platforming, collecting all the precursor orbs, and put aside the evil that's going to destroy the world and stuff. It's a little dated and a little sloppy at times, but still a very fun platforming game that I always will enjoy. Number 12 is The Last of Us Part 2, a film, right? Here we go again. A video game that everyone either loves or hates. I'm on the middle of the, middle. It's got great stuff, but bad stuff. But the great stuff is that good, but the bad stuff is really that bad. So yeah, not going to talk about this enough. Number 11 is Uncharted Drake's Fortune, the first Uncharted game. It's a really great game. Introduction to the great characters of Nathan Drake and Sullivan. Love Sullivan. A little dated, and some of the puzzles aren't as cool as other puzzles, and some of the maps aren't as unique as other maps in Uncharted, but still love the story. I love the little mutants you have to fight, and I love the last boss, and I love some of the cool mythology the video game brings, and just, yeah, love the game. Number 10 is Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. Love the scenes with Sully, and he's kidnapped. You have to go rescue him, especially when you're on the desert, on the horse, fighting all the guys. That's great. The ending is really trippy and cool. It's just a really cool. This is like really epic, and it feels like an Indiana Jones movie. This Uncharted game, and I really, really enjoy it. And I don't have a lot of flaws with Uncharted 3. Just all these other games, I think are better. But Uncharted 3 is great. Number 9 is Crash Bandicoot, the first Crash Bandicoot, one of the hardest platforming games ever. I actually just recently beat it a few months ago because I bought the Insane Trilogy like 2 years ago, and I beat the second one and the third one, but I was struggling with the first Crash Bandicoot, and I'm like, when I was a kid, I used to be able to beat this game, but as adults, I guess I suck at games, but just a few months ago, I replayed the first Crash, and I beat it, and I platinumed the second and third one, so yeah, first Crash is great. I love the introduction to Crash Bandicoot, Dr. Neocortex, Coco, Aku Aku, Uka Uka, all these great, awesome characters that I just grew up with. Childhood, man. Number 8, Jak 2. Jak 2 expands on the Jak mythos and the Jak and Dexter story and world. It goes into a more futuristic realm. You get to do a lot more cooler things like drive like these space vehicles and go into these races and have this like flying surfboard. It's fucking cool. You get guns and shit, like the weapons and the worlds and the story and Jak 2 is just awesome. The twist ending is fantastic. Just everything about Jak 2 is just fucking wicked. But number 7 is Jak 3. Unpopular, but I like it better than Jak 2. Most people say Jak 2 is the best Jak and Dexter game. They're not wrong, but Jak 3 is a personal favorite. I love the weapons. I love the vehicles you get to drive in Jak 3. I love the weapons. I love going back to the old school world with the gear you get in Jak 2. It's like the worlds of first Jak and Dexter, but with the weapons of Jak 2, which is the best of both worlds, and that's why I love it. I love the more interesting expansion they give on Dexter as a character. I love the last boss, and I love just some of the cool little side missions you can do. Just Jak 3 is the game I always played the most as a kid, and it's always been a personal favorite of mine. Number 6 is Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back. This, again, expands on the first Crash Bandicoot with the warp rooms, and it brings in much cooler, interesting levels. It brings in new bosses like Engine and Tiny Tiger. I love some of the worlds that you get to go at Crash Bandicoot, riding the polar bears and stuff, and running away from crazy plants and big polar bears. It's just everything in this game. It does what the first Crash Bandicoot, but it just expands it more and makes it more fun. Just love it. Number 5 is Crash Bandicoot Warped. Crash Bandicoot Warped again went bigger. That's what I love about the original Crash games. They just went bigger and bigger and better and better. Warped brought in these like cooler levels and more bosses and trophy and stuff. The stuff you can do in Warped was just incredible. And you get to play Coco and doing like these speed levels, and you get to ride motorcycles. It's fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. Number 4 is Crash Team Racing. That is my favorite Crash Bandicoot game. If I went with just a normal Crash game, Warped is my favorite. But if we're going all Crash games, like even spin-off, Crash Team Racing. Crash Team Racing is not even like a sequel or anything. It's a spin-off racing game that Naughty Dog did, and this is my favorite racing game of all time. I love Crash Team Racing. I played this all the time as a kid. I love that they did a remake of Nitro Field, and it's just Crash Team Racing, but Crash Team Racing, and it's just got better visuals and just adds more to it. I don't know what to say. Crash Team Racing is the greatest racing game I've ever played. Number 3, though, The Last of Us. The first Last of Us is a brilliant, brutal, violent, emotionally hard-hitting story. The relationship between Joel and Ellie is one of the most beautiful stories and beautiful relationships I've ever seen in a video game. It's a zombie apocalypse game, but it's also a relationship game about this father-daughter relationship. And they're not even father and daughter, but they've both lost so much, and they have to come together as almost like a family in a way to team up and get to the Fireflies and fuck up some zombies. I think everyone knows The Last of Us. Everyone's played it, so everyone knows it's brilliant. Number 2, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. One of the best openings to a video game ever. It's got amazing story and great mythology about Marco Polo. It's got a great last boss. Nathan Drake is at his most badass in this game. I technically think it is the best Uncharted game ever made. It's just not my favorite. It's not my favorite. Number 1 is my favorite, and that's Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. This is my favorite Naughty Dog game, and it's my favorite Uncharted game. I think Uncharted 2 is a better game, but Uncharted 4 is my favorite. I love the story. I love the emotional aspects of this game. The ending almost had me in tears. His relationships in this game are fantastic, especially with his brother. I loved everything with his brother. I loved a lot of the missions, and I loved the climbing, the visuals, the gunplay, even the story and the backstory about Nathan and his brother when they were kids. I was just gripped to this story. Again, like I said, Uncharted 2 is a better game, better gameplay, probably even better story and better mythologies and stuff, but Uncharted 4 is my favorite. I loved everything about Uncharted 4. And it's my favorite Uncharted, and it is my favorite Naughty Dog game. So that was my quick little ranking of all 16 Naughty Dog games. There's technically more, but the ones I've played. So yeah, that was my ranking of the Naughty Dog games. So in the comment section below, please tell me, did you agree with this ranking? You probably didn't, but That's what the comments are for. Comment below. Tell me your guys' favorites, least favorites, whatever. Comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and join the dark side.